7 minutes past 8. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily, where we turn our attention now to this Ebola virus matter. And we're joined by Dr. Yewande Adeshina, who is the Special Advisor on Public Health in Lagos State. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Well, for those who have not heard about this, I mean in terms of details, because this morning they see the headline, "Stop eating bushmeat now." What was that? Bats. And they can't connect the dots. They are wondering.
And then domestic animals don't have them.
And these are some people's very precious delicacies, as a matter of fact. Tell us about all of this. How are they connected?
Well, we don't know what animal is the natural reservoir for the virus, but fruit bats are implicated, and they're very common in the tropical rainforest area. The understanding is the fruit bat carries the virus as a symbiotic relationship. The virus does not infect the bats. They live together in communal relationship. And the bat eats the fruit and regurgitates into the fruit. The animals can eat the fruits, humans can eat the fruits. Other animals can eat the bats, chimpanzees, and all of that. So the connection is that this bat is not infected, it's just a carrier. It eats the fruit. Animals or human eats the fruit and gets infected. Humans, bushmeat for instance, humans catch the animal, kills it, treats it, the blood gets on the human and infects the human. It's not so much the eating of the bushmeat as much of the preparing, because the blood is where the virus is in. It's not in the meat itself.
So what if I prepare it and I don't have any cuts on me? How do
It doesn't matter. You don't have to have a cut on you. Once you just need to be in contact with the body fluid. It is that virulent. It's such that the bushmeat implication is that if you cook it well to above 60 degrees, we know over temperatures over 60 degrees can kill the virus. But if you air dry it, some bushmeats you air dry, or if you smoke it on a low, long, slow, like a slow barbecue kind of thing, those kinds of preparations cannot really cook the meat deep. And so if you have any raw parts in that bushmeat and you eat it, you may be infected. But we don't have any proven scientific relationship between eating bushmeat and catching the infection. But we do know that the preparation of these wild animals can, especially if they carry the virus, can lead to the infection.
Okay, but how come they say that, you say if you touch the fluid of someone who has it, you're in danger.
Yes.
But they say wash your hands as often as you can. So if I'm in contact with someone, for a certain period of time, is there any limits until I wash my hand? Do I contact it even though I wash my hands?
We don't know for sure when the infective process, the virus is really very tricky, and that's why we don't even have a vaccine for it. We don't know for sure the time between, it's been, some people didn't even get in contact with, no proven contact, they just have the infection, and you cannot trace anywhere where they've been around anyone that has the infection. So it's a silent mover. It kind of creeps in the system, and it's not overtly when you're in direct contact with somebody. Someone might have touched a format, any surface, and it can live on the surface for a long time. Soap and water actually, from all indications, can deactivate or kill the virus. That's why hand washing is very, very critical. If you have, if you've touched someone, and I need to also correct an impression that is actually taking roots. A person infected with the Ebola virus cannot be walking around. They are deathly sick. So you're not going to run into them at the store. You're not going to run into them at the market to the point where you're shaking them. Before the illness strikes, they can go around sitting. They're not infectious. The minute the fever breaks and the system starts crashing is when they become infectious. And by that time, the person will tell you. You will know, you will see it, that this person looks really sick. They are very weak. They can't.
Sorry to cut you there, because a lot of questions, calls. How come Mr. Sawyer, God bless his soul, who came in, we didn't observe all of that, maybe even during the flight hours until he landed in the country, and finally the news broke that we have someone here with the virus?
It is impossible. You go stand at the airport and watch people board flights. If they look normal, they walk normal, then there's no reason for you to stop anybody from moving around. Mr. Sawyer was not sick when he was boarding, not physically. He had started feeling like he had malaria. From the history that we got, he had been feeling sick 2 days prior to when he traveled. And he was treated for malaria. He actually had his medications on him when he arrived. But shortly before they landed was when the sickness broke. And he couldn't get out of his seat. So he was helped into a wheelchair. The fortunate thing for us is that he works for an organization that is really organized. They had a liaison officer, they had a protocol officer, they had their own dedicated vehicle and driver. That was the big break that we got, because if this man had gone into a public transportation system and gone into a hotel, we wouldn't be talking prevention now. We would be scared of an outbreak. But we know the people that carried him from the airplane into the wheelchair. We know the people that attended to him before he got into his car. And on calling their liaison office that this gentleman is sick, he can't move. They said someone even had to carry his phone for him because he was feeling really weak. He asked for a drink, they got him a drink. And so those people that attended to him, we have them on our list and we're watching them. Went straight to the hospital. It was this vigilance. 2 nurses attended to him at the airport. We have their names and their numbers. We're watching them. So he went straight to the hospital from the airport. So contrary to what people believe that we let him sneak through, it's because the system works. That's why we caught him early. If the system didn't work, the nurses wouldn't have attended to him at the airport. He would have just gone on his merry way. But within 24 hours of getting to the hospital, he started developing symptoms. So that is another saving grace that we're hoping that even if the contacts of the contacts, because we didn't get the alert until on Tuesday, and he came in on Sunday. So the people that had touched him had been going around before we were able to get them under our surveillance. That circle of contacts, we're hoping the infection hadn't kicked in, because the infection didn't really kick in until Monday evening into Tuesday morning, when he started developing bleeding in the eyes, subconjunctival hemorrhage that's bleeding inside the eyeball. It wasn't overt bleeding. And they tested his blood at that time. He had started having what we call microhematuria, which is if you held his urine, you couldn't see the blood, but blood cells were already being seen in his urine, and his skin was starting to change a bit. It just got ashy. And that's when they locked him up. They did not let him leave the room, and they immediately instituted infection control precautions. So if you track him from the plane to the hospital, there were not too many high-risk contacts. There were people in close proximity, but if you look at the science of it, he hadn't really become contagious until that Tuesday or Wednesday, when the symptoms totally broke down. Because even when he got into the hospital, it was being treated for malaria. They thought he had malaria. So late Monday was when the changes came, and the suspicion just went up, and they quarantined him and kept him there.